Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Shire of Murray Ordinary Council meeting of the 27th of August 2026. I'll just read the live stream declaration. The Shire of Murray Ordinary Council meeting is being live streamed and recorded on the Shire's website in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Members of the public attending this meeting consent to the possibility that their image and voice may be captured on the recording and live streaming. Statements or decisions made at this meeting should not be relied or acted on by an applicant or any other person until they've received written notification from the Shire of Murray. So like I said, welcome everybody. It's always a pleasure to have people in the gallery here to watch our formal proceedings for the evening. Tonight we have a full complement of executive team and elected members present in the chamber. I therefore have no apologies and I have not received any leaves of absence. I have no responses that I need to provide for questions taken on notice from a previous meeting, which brings us through to item 4, public question time. Do I have any questions from the public at all? No, I'll take that as nil. Which brings us through to item 5, petitions and approved deputations, and tonight we have one, which is from Mr Henry Dykstra, from Harley Dykstra, which is in relation to item 11.1, consideration of submissions, amendment number 336 to Local Planning Scheme number 4 and Structure Plan Lot A39 Lakes Road, North Dandalup. Mr Dykstra, if you'd like to come and please press the button so that you're recorded on the live stream. Thank you.
Thank you, President, councillors and staff. Thanks for allowing me to speak briefly. I just really want to also thank you for the extra month and a bit you gave us to deal with the modifications that the staff were suggesting at a previous meeting to this rezoning and structure plan for Lot 39A and Lakes Road. Our team's worked together with your team over the last month and a half, and our client, the landowner, is really happy where things have landed in the recommendation, so I really entrust that recommendation to council this evening. And really we see this rezoning as adding some value in terms of rehabilitating and protecting about 49 hectares of foreshore reserve on either side of the North Dandalup River across this property. There'll be some really good and handy road interface connections with developments to the north and the east and the south. So this will sort of fill in a bit of a missing bit. And you've also got a capable developer here. We've done work for this developer for the last 20 years. This is the sort of product they produce, the rural residential product, and I'm pretty confident that they'll sort of try to hit the ground running. And they've done some pretty good developments to the north of you in the past. We've worked with them. So you're really getting 120 new rural residential lots where families can come and set up home in your shire. So yeah, really just recommend the proposal to you as written, and thank you for the opportunity and for considering, and wish you a good meeting.
Thank you, Mr Dykstra. Are there any elected members that have any questions of Mr Dykstra with relation to item 11.1? If not, thank you very much for your deputation. We'll come across that item shortly. Brings us through to item 6, confirmation of the minutes, and we have two. We have 6.1, ordinary council meeting for the 23rd of July 2026. Do I have a mover for that item, please? Councillor Rogers and Councillor Carter to second. Are there any comments or questions in relation to those minutes? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Item 6.2 is the Local Emergency Management Committee meeting for the 5th of August 2026. Do I have a mover for that item, please? Councillor Willis and Councillor Kirkham will second. Any comments or questions in relation to those minutes? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That is passed unanimously. Item 7 is announcements by the presiding member. They will be attached and form part of the minutes. And item 8 is announcements by elected members. These will also be attached to the minutes unless there are any elected members that wish to verbalise at this point. No? We'll move on to item 9, acknowledgement and receipt of disclosure of interests. I have not received any. Are there any councillors that have a late disclosure to submit? Nope. Item 10, reception of minutes and recommendations of committees held since the previous meeting of council is nil. Which brings us on to reports of the Chief Executive Officer and officers. Item 11, planning and sustainability. 11.1, consideration of submissions, amendment number 336 to the local planning scheme number 4 and structure plan lot A39 Lakes Road, North Dandalup. Councillors, we have an officer's recommendation there. Do I have a mover for that officer's recommendation? Councillor Lee and Councillor Willis will second that. Councillor Lee, would you like to speak to the item?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I think, as Mr. Dostra has mentioned, that it'll be a benefit, and I think it's great that we've been able to sort out with them and do the modifications to the structure plan, and that it will now go ahead.
Thank you. Councillor Willis, have you got anything further to add? Is there anybody likely to be opposing this item? Are there any comments or questions in relation to this item? Councillor Cashman?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have just a couple of questions, if I may. Through the chair, can officers confirm that the outstanding black cockatoo breeding season survey will be completed and assessed before the structure plan is finally approved?
The schedule of modifications in Appendix 4 of the agenda does indicate that an environmental assessment report will be required, a modified assessment report, and that will be an element of that.
Thank you, and if I may...
Sorry, Councillor Cashman, are these in relation to the questions that you asked and then received written response to?
That is correct.
Are you seeking further clarification on those questions, or...?
I believe I just wanted to ask those questions tonight, Mr. President.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll allow it tonight.
Thank you. Through the chair, can officers confirm that the subdivision cannot proceed unless Water Corporation demonstrates minimum firefighting water pressure, regardless of the anticipated timing of the booster pump?
Through the subdivision process, Water Corporation will be required to ensure that there's an adequate pressure, a minimum pressure, to each of those lots that are produced as part of this subdivision works, irrespective of the planned works by Water Corporation. So that will be worked out by the civil engineer and the Water Corporation as part of the subdivision design works.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Cashman. Is there anybody else would have a comment or a question in relation to this item? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? And that's passed unanimously. Thank you. Item 11.2, Draft Community Infrastructure Plan 2025 to 2055. We have an officer's recommendation there. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Carter and Councillor Rogers. Is there anyone likely to be opposing this? Are there any comments or questions? Councillor Carter, you'd like to speak?
Yeah, the draft community infrastructure plan is a very, very extensive document. The information I read in this document clearly outlines the community needs going forward and justifies the reasons behind the recommendations. There's a lot of fantastic projects outlined in the plan for the short, medium and long terms. And given the significant costs associated with many of the projects, it's important to have the plan so the Shire can focus on these projects and target funding opportunities to support the delivery of these projects. I look forward to learning the community and key stakeholders' comments about the plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there's nobody opposing this item, then I think we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That is passed unanimously. Item 12 is corporate governance, which 12.1 is the monthly financial report for July 2026. Do I have a mover for that, please? Councillor Lee, and seconded by Councillor Rogers. Are there any comments or questions? We'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. (12.2) Payments from municipal and trust funds for July 2026. Do I have a mover for those, please? Councillor Willis and Councillor Black to second. Are there any comments or questions in relation to those payments? No, we'll put the item. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Recreation, Economic and Community Development. 13.1 is Council Policy Review C7 Community Sponsorship Fund. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Carter and Councillor Willis to second. Are there any comments or questions? Councillor Carter, you'd like to speak?
Can I do both? Can I make a comment first? The details in the policy look to be very fair. The change from funding being available for only interstate and international events to being beyond 2,000 kilometres of a radius of here will now give participants involved in events throughout WA the opportunity to apply, which I think is fantastic. I do have a question, and I'm sorry that I didn't ask this ahead of time because I am unsure if the answer will be known. In the policy update, the funding amount is capped at $200. This is in line with the previous policy for interstate events, while the cap for international events has been reduced from 300 to 200. So in the past few years, do we know the approximate number of applicants for this funding?
Thank you, Councillor Carter. I do not know the exact number off the top of my head. I can take that on notice, but what I can say that it is a very popular fund, and last year Council increased the budget allocation towards this sponsorship fund.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Dorr, and thank you, Councillor Carter. Are there any other comments or questions from councillors? Councillor Willis?
Just to comment, just to say that I am fully in support of this. I think making it available to student participants or young participants within the state, I think is actually a really good timing to do that with our cost of living pressures at the moment. And I think it's already a popular fund. Probably will be more popular to come, but I'm in high support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Willis. Is anyone wishing to oppose this? No. We'll put the item. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Item 14 is infrastructure services, and there is nothing from that directorate tonight. Item 15, items for information. 15.1, outstanding council resolutions for July 2026 will be attached to the minutes for information. Likewise, item 15.2, delegated development application decisions for July 2026 will be attached for information to the minutes. Item 16 is business left over from a previous meeting, and that is nil. Item 17, elected members' motions of which previous notice has been given, is nil. And brings us to item 18, which is notice of motions for consideration at the following meeting. Does any elected member have a notice of motion to be considered in September? We'll take that as nil. Item 19, new business of an urgent nature approved by the presiding person or by decision of the meeting. So we have got one, 19.1, continuation of accommodation arrangements for Ovis Community Services. I need a mover and a seconder, please, Councillor Kirkham and Councillor Cashman to second that we accept this as a late item. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. So for that item, councillors, we have a recommendation there. Do I have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Carter, and Councillor Black has his hand up to second. Is there anyone likely to be opposing this item or liking to speak against it? Are there any questions? Would the mover like to speak to the item? No? Yes?
Just to say that I think that Ovis do a fantastic job. The fact that we are able to support them with ongoing support within the town, I think is great, especially seeing as how they were in another building of ours but have moved on to other premises. I think it's great coming forward, and the questions that I wanted asked I have done, and they've been answered. So I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. Are there any people wishing to speak for this item? Councillor Cashman?
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight's decision is about protecting people in our community who are doing it tough. Ovis Community Services is one of the few organisations in our region that stands beside women and families that face domestic violence, homelessness and crisis situations. When their building at Camp Road was found to have structural issues, our admin staff stepped up immediately. They moved fast, so they were professional, and they made sure Ovis could keep operating without missing a beat. I want to begin by acknowledging the CEO and his staff for the work that they put into this proposal. I've seen on multiple occasions the CEO speak from the heart when considering non-for-profits and agencies that assist the most vulnerable in our region. That genuine care shows through in how this matter has been handled. The responsiveness, professionalism and commitment to keeping Ovis operating without disruption is exactly what good local government looks like. Ovis has now secured ongoing funding, which gives them certainty to continue delivering these essential services here in Murray. What they need from us is stability whilst they work towards a long-term premises. The courthouse has been underused for years and Ovis has turned it into a safe, active, community-focused space. Keeping them there on a 1+1 year arrangement is practical, low cost and absolutely the right thing to do. If Council didn't act tonight, there would be a real risk of service disruption. That would mean vulnerable women and families losing access to critical support at the exact moment that they need it most. I'm not prepared to let that happen. I don't think our community would accept that either. The decision also sets us up for something bigger. By working with Ovis and other agencies on a business case for a community services hub, we're taking a proactive step towards a long-term solution. A dedicated hub would strengthen service delivery, improve safety outcomes and give our region the kind of support infrastructure that is needed for a long time. Supporting Ovis is more than a procedural decision, it's a statement about our values as a community. We back organisations that make a real difference, we make sure essential services stay accessible, and we look after people who need help, not just when it's convenient, but when it matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cashman. Are there any people wishing to speak for this any further? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? And that is passed unanimously. Item 20, meeting closed to the public for confidential business. There is none. No confidential business, that is. Item 21 is the closure of the meeting, and at 5:48, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to those members of the public that came out tonight to listen to what is a fairly brief meeting tonight.
Don't take those papers, Mert. Leave them there.